Welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Katrina Zish, and it is time now for The Other View. President Trump taking action on many fronts this week, including education. Moments ago, the president taking part in a White House roundtable centered on school choice alongside several governors, including the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. Now, earlier this week, the president signed an executive order prioritizing and freeing up federal funding to expand school choice programs, and another order to remove federal funding from K through 12 schools that teach critical race theory, yes, CRT. Meanwhile, the nation's report card just came out, and it is not very good. Not good news at all for America and for America's kids. The 2024 National Assessment of Educational Progress revealing that students, for the most part, are falling even further behind in math and reading nearly 5 years after schools closed for the COVID pandemic. Now, according to the report, the average math score for 8th grade students was virtually unchanged from 2022 among 4th and 8th graders. However, scores are below where they were in 2019. But reading scores, they fell 2 points since 2022 at both grade levels. And on top of that, 1/3 of 8th grade students scored below basic in reading. That's more than ever in the history of the reading assessment. Now, the Department of Education calling the results, quote, a heartbreaking reality for American students that, quote, confirms our worst fears. Not only did most students not recover from pandemic-related learning loss, but those students who were the most behind and needed the most support have fallen even further behind. The Trump administration is committed to reorienting our education system to fully empower states to prioritize meaningful learning and provide universal access to high-quality instruction. Change must happen, and it must happen now. All right, let's bring it over to the couch. Here with me now, former New York Lieutenant Governor and Newsmax contributor Betsy McCaughey, alongside attorney and legal analyst Jonna Spilbor. Welcome to both of you. I know you are both very eager to talk about this subject. Betsy, you've been writing about it all week. I want to start specifically with getting rid of the CRT. We talked about the COVID pandemic being a setback, but also students learning in school what they don't really need to be learning. They should be learning the basics to get them by in their lives.
Absolutely, and it's very clear what's to blame for this. If you go to the websites of the UFT, United Federation of Teachers, or NEA, the National Education Association, the two big unions that literally run most of the school systems around this country, you will find on their websites nothing about how to teach reading or the most effective way to teach arithmetic.
Wow.
It's all ideology. It's all left-wing garbage. It's all CRT, as you mentioned, social justice, racism, reverse racism. That's all they discuss on those websites. And those unions are really driving the replacement of learning with brainwashing.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, Jonna. I mean, it's one thing to not prepare kids, frankly, for real life, for the future.
Right.
It's another if there's a more insidious reason behind that. Do you think it really is some intentional brainwashing going on that had been going on the part of the Democrats?
You betcha. Betsy hit it on the head. I was thinking back when I was a kid, teachers would encourage adolescents to learn about the opposite sex. Today, teachers encourage adolescents to become the opposite sex. That is a problem for a number of reasons, because while they're busy underneath all of this woke BS, they now can't even spell BS. That is why we need to get back to the basics and not talk about pronouns and white privilege, but talk about reading, writing, and arithmetic. They haven't done it. They're not doing it, but they're going to do it now, thankfully.
Betsy, how long do you, that's a great point. Betsy, how long do you think it will take to actually try to get students back on track? Because it just seems to me, again, I don't have kids. I have furry ones, as I say. I have dogs. but I mean, it just seems like kids are so far off track. I talked to some of my friends. A lot of them have opted to homeschool.
That's right. And it's not the pandemic, because the scores were going down before the pandemic. And it's going to be very hard to scrub these curricula around the country because it's a local and state matter and the teachers are in charge. But not all teachers like this. It's the union that likes it, and many teachers are against all of this indoctrination. I have to give them credit for that. The other thing the president did this